I'm not even kidding you, but tonight was a great show. Obviously, tonight was the show that we tribute Brodie Lee. So it was the last episode of 2020, December 30th, 2020, Aew Dynamite. And it was a tribute to Brodie. And so obviously all the matches were changed. It was all changed for Dark Order. And bro, I swear, like, tonight was pretty fucking good. Tonight is more of a recap. This is the recap, no review. I'm not gonna analyze really shit. There's nothing to analyze. It's no storylines, but you had Erick Rowan from WWE, Eric Redbeard. He showed up. He made his AEW debut, and seriously, I honestly couldn't believe that I would be excited for an Erick Rowan debut in AEW. So here's what happened. This was like the third match. Hangman Page versus Alex Reynolds and John Silver versus MJF, Santana, and Ortiz. MJF, seriously, I needed this. He came out in like some Puerto Rican gear or whatever the fuck. And he was pretty funny. He did some stuff with Brodie Lee's son. Brodie Lee's son struck him with a kendo stick. And Erick Rowan showed up and helped save, he helped the Dark Order and Hangman Page. And they got the win. The Dark Order, they got the win the whole night. So you're gonna see a pattern. They won the whole night. And then after the match, they were celebrating, and Erick Rowan had some cards up, and he was like, "Yo, I'm gonna miss you, Brodie Lee. I'm gonna miss you, bro." And shit. Like he was crying, and honestly, it was so sad. Like, the whole night was so sad. So Erick Rowan made his AEW debut. And then the rest of the show started off with a 10-bell salute. You could see straight away Miro, he was bawling. He was crying his eyes out. You see Tony Khan. You see all the talent on stage. Brodie Lee's son and wife, they were on stage, and it was so sad, dude. It was like, honestly, like, I thought that I could do it. I could get through it. But these guys, they just made me fucking cry, dude. I just could not. So I think Jim Ross, he was like, it's Monday. It's Wednesday, you know what that means. He did that. Then you had Colt Cabana versus Young Bucks versus Matt Hardy Party. And I think AEW, they made it so it looked. They made it so like you thought that everyone versus the Dark Order would win, but in fact they did not. They didn't. So obviously Colt Cabana and Young Bucks, they won the match, and they claimed they came to the ring and they were about to say some shit like about tonight's stuff. And SCU, they came out, they threw them into the ring, and I think the Young Bucks, they beat them up and shit. Then you had a memorial. Throughout the night, you had people memorializing Brodie Lee. You had Darby Allin talk about Brodie Lee. Eddie Kingston gets on the mic, and he says that he loves him. So Eddie Kingston was not really, like, in that moment, he was kind of being sincere, obviously. And then he was like, but yo, without Brodie Lee, the Dark Order is shit. And honestly, like, I would agree, but with Dark Order, like, they're pretty underrated. Like, they have great talent in the ring, but with Brodie Lee, like, they were really good, and and so it was Butcher, the Blade, and Eddie Kingston versus Evil Uno, Stu Grayson, and Lance Archer. Obviously, Lance Archer and Stu Grayson, they won. And, everyone was so emotional. Even Jake the Snake Roberts, he got some type of attack in after the match. There was another thing from Dax Harwood, Arn Anderson, Colt Cabana, Bryce Remsburg. The referee, Bryce Remsburg, he seriously, like, he also made it tearfully. He was one of them that was crying, and it seriously, like, broke my heart. So, You know, obviously Brodie Lee made such a short impact on a lot of these guys, and a lot of these guys he knew from the independent scenes, but others he didn't, and it was just really sad to see, honestly. It was absolutely insane. Then you had those stuff. You had Anna Jay versus Eddie Kingston spoke about Brodie Lee. Then you had Anna Jay and Tay Conti versus Britt Baker and Penelope Ford, and obviously Anna Jay and Tay Conti won. And then after the match, you know, Britt Baker was talking shit or whatever. Then Thunder Rosa came out and beat her up. Chris Jericho was on commentary, and he was doing obviously some funny stuff, and he was pretty good. And then they were hyping up the next week. The show is fucking stacked, dude. Next week you have Kenny Omega versus Phoenix. You have Snoop Dogg. You have Chris Jericho on commentary. You have Cody Rhodes versus Matt Sydal. You have Wardlow versus Jake Hager, like the two big men. Like, if you you know, obviously they're not gonna do flips and shit, but it should be a good match. Like, you're anticipating them. So some good stuff. You had Chris Jericho talking about his time with Brodie Lee in Saudi Arabia. So you knew that was with WWE when they went to the Saudi shows. Then you had Cody, Orange Cassidy. So obviously, if you didn't know, Brodie Lee's son booked the show, and I think his favorite wrestler was Orange Cassidy. So it was Cody Rhodes, Orange Cassidy, and 10 from the Dark Order versus Team Taz, Brian Cage, Ricky Starks, and Powerhouse Hobbs. And obviously you know who won. Cody and Orange Cassidy and 10. They won. So that was that. And then that was the last match, but the main event really was a Brodie Lee big tribute. And Cody came out. He was talking about it. And he brought out the Brodie Lee's son and his mother, Brodie Lee's wife, and Tony Khan was there, and he was like, "This is it. This is your title." He gave his son the TNT title, and then they showed they showed his Brodie Lee's boots in the ring, and the boots are retired or whatever, and then he gave him the belt, and then after that they showed a package. In the package they showed Big E, they showed Bray Wyatt, they showed some WWE talent, and I don't know whether WWE allowed them to use those footages or they were just in public use or whatever. Honestly, it doesn't even matter. A lot of that stuff doesn't even matter tonight, but the fact that they showed that stuff, it was kind of heartbreaking and warming at the same time. But then they ended the show with this package, and it honestly was so sad. This show was so sad, honestly, and if you didn't crack a tear or whatever, like, you're heartless, bro. Like, this show was so heartwarming, so heartfelt. AEW did a great job of showing you, like, you know, they did a great job. You know, Brodie Lee wasn't there for that long, but they showed you how much that Brodie Lee meant to them, and so it was a very great show. Great show. Story. There was no really storyline wise, but matches and stuff. It was a pretty good show. It was a pretty great show, and you know, they had the stuff with the fact that they had the Bray Wyatt, Big E. I think apparently Roman Reigns was in the package. I can't remember. I don't remember much, honestly. Like, I was drinking during the show, so, but I remember that they showed Big E. And they showed Bray Wyatt, but if they showed Roman Reigns and stuff, like, that's nice. It was nice. They did a great show for Brodie Lee, man. This show was great. You weren't supposed to really critique it. Wins and losses doesn't matter. For tonight's episode, they were set on Friday, so tomorrow, it really doesn't even matter. But if you enjoy what you saw in this video, guys, please leave a thumbs up. Subscribe if you're new. Turn that notification bell on. And I'll see you guys for the next one. I love you guys. Later.